you, how many of you have either heard of or attended Austin City Limits Music Festival? I had a feeling this might be the case. That being said, I think that I can speak as an attendee of the festival that a few ideas that you get once you are thinking about this festival are music, people, crowds, and lots of really great food. These are actually pictures that I took last year attending ACL in 2013, or last year. These are pictures that I took. And speaking of these ideas, this is mostly what you think of when you think of ACL. And actually a fun fact about this particular event, $102 million in revenue was generated for the city of Austin this past year at ACL, and that was with a second weekend rain out. So to give you an idea of how huge this is, even though you've probably already been. So the company that puts on this magic, of course, is C3 Presents. They are a small company. Started locally in 2007 by the 3 C's. And what I mean by the 3 C's, of course, are Charlie Jones, Charles Adol, and Charlie Walker. That confusing Charlie little reference is what leads us to the 3 C's. They were a local startup and started here in Austin. They're actually still on West 6th Street, and they kept their business local, so they are still here. That being said, they're still a small company. They are actually a company here in Austin employing 95 to 100 employees and 200 employees overall in different locations. They have huge competitors, which is an interesting fact considering what a small company they are. One of their largest competitors is actually Live Nation, and to give you an idea of what their competition is like, Live Nation is a company of 6,600 employees. So comparing that to the max number that I found of C3's 200 employees, they're still going head to head, but on obviously very different scales of number of employees. And they're also having a local and cultural impact. It was found out that $7 million was donated to the Austin Parks and Recreation for the infrastructure for Zilker Park to be the best place to have ACL. So that gives you kind of an idea of what kind of environmental local impact that C3 is having on Austin. Some other events that the company puts on are the Austin Food and Wine Festival here in Austin, Lollapalooza, which is actually an international event that we'll get to in a little bit, Music City Eats, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, every year, it's an annual event, as well as Big Day Out in Australia, in multiple cities there, and Wanderlust. So how is this happening? How is this tiny company making such a huge global impact as well as a local impact here in the US? They're expanding, totally expanding. There was locally, recently a video that I watched on Billboard.com where one of the founders, Charlie Jones, was talking about where Lollapalooza was this year, and they were talking about the expansion. And he mentioned that this year marked the 3rd year of Lollapalooza, Brazil, Argentina, and Chile, as well as Big Day Out in Australia, which has been happening for a while. So by expanding globally, they're getting huge, but which is kind of interesting because they are Live Nation's competitor, but they're not getting to be a huge company like they are. They're staying small, they're staying relatively local while still expanding. So they just make sure that who they do hire does what they do very well, as well as staying effective. They know exactly what you want as a consumer at their events. They know who you want to see. They base their lineups off of that. They know what you want to eat. They know what t-shirts you want to buy. They know what you want. So they are definitely staying very effective in getting their customers exactly what they need. So this company is important for many different reasons. One of them being that it is a model business of Austin. I think because Austin emphasizes so strongly what it means for local business and what it means to a community to have local business, for this company to start up locally and to branch out globally is a huge deal. Just because they have expanded into the global market and made a huge impact both with music and culture in other areas. As well as the Austin contributions, of course, like I mentioned with Parks and Recreation. So that goes into also the economic and social impact, just because We are a city who loves to emphasize the fact that we are the live music capital of the world. We love to post that in our airports, we love to post it everywhere we can, and that epitomizes that. We are definitely living that up, and C3 definitely wants to emphasize that within our own community, that we are this, we will stay this. And the global impact that I mentioned earlier with their events going global. So overall, I hope that you now have a better understanding of who is behind the scenes at these huge events that you all raised your hands that you have heard of or been to, as well as how they're so successful, how this little company is making a huge impact and going very big places. So these are my references for all of the pictures that I used today that were not my own, as well as the statistics mentioned in the presentation. Thank you so much for letting me share with you about C3, how this small company is doing big things, and I'd like to open the floor for any questions if anyone has anything.
Okay, so you say that they have something in Nashville?
Yes.
Does that mean that they also have like an office or like a thing there in Nashville, or is it just here in Austin?
Not that I know of, that they do have a base in Los Angeles, but not that I know of. They do Music City Eats base. I know there are interns who work on it here in Austin, but yeah, it's basically just a bigger, foodier event than ACL. Yeah.
Are you gonna give the speech to your, as a pitch for your job?
Let's hope I get that chance.
You should.
Did Lollapalooza in Chicago too?
Yes, there are different locations for it. There's, I believe, 4 domestic locations that they do it in, and then the ones mentioned in South America as well.
How many people do you say that they work for the C3 event in here in Austin to happen?
You mean the local office? How many employees
Yeah,
do they
well,
have?
it's a lot of people, you know, that
Right.
they have to.
The company that is here is, well, do you mean volunteers for the actual event?
Yes.
I did actually remember reading about that in one of the articles. It was somewhere close to 6,000, I think, this past year.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people. No?
Yeah, no, it was a huge event. But the company itself, the Austin location, is 95 people, which is crazy small.
And all those people that volunteer, what happens? Like, they don't get paid at all, right? It's just
Their compensation is usually a wristband to the event for all 3 days. Anything else?
Have you volunteered?
I haven't. I didn't get a chance. This year, this is what triggered my interest actually in C3, was going to ACL and experiencing the vibe there. So, yeah, I didn't get a chance. I hadn't heard about it before just going.
So when you apply for a job there, do you have to give a pitch?
I'm not actually sure. I know they do have Laura mentioned that they do have a really specific interview process that they do. So I'm assuming that there's something similar to this maybe, but I'm not entirely sure yet.
Let us know when you find out.
I will, definitely. Thank you so much.